Hey guys, it's Miss Riggs here again. I want you to do something for me today. Can you all try to stand up and stand on one foot? I'll wait. Was it harder than you thought it was going to be? I know when we're in class, a lot of times I'll see people touching the tabletops or trying to touch their friend and different things. But when you were standing there on one foot, what were you trying to keep? Yeah, you are trying to keep something called balance. And balance is important in everyday life. Balance is also important in art too. I know there's some instances in everyday life where balance is important, like, of course, walking. Babies have to learn how to balance in order to learn how to walk. Playing on a seesaw, riding a scooter. It's important to have good balance. And of course, riding a bike. It took me a while to learn how to ride a bike. I think I was in fourth grade before I really learned because, yeah, I had a hard time trying to keep my balance. But once I learned how, I never forgot. So, some of the things you hear me talk about today that have to do with balance are things that you've probably heard of in math class before. And one kind of balance we're going to look at today is something called symmetrical balance. And symmetrical balance means that both sides of something are equally the same. Take, for instance, a person's face. If you look at my face on the screen, it sounds kind of funny, but if you took like a magic marker or a pencil or something and drew a line all the way from my forehead down to my nose and my lips and my chin, one half of me or one half of my face is going to be pretty much the same as the other. So that's an example of symmetrical balance. There's another kind of balance in art that's called asymmetrical balance. And asymmetrical is just the opposite. Asymmetrical means they're not the same on both sides. And there's a third kind of balance, believe it or not, in art that's called radial balance. Radial balance means when you have a design bouncing around a center point. Take, for instance, I went and got this pinwheel out of my daughter's her toy box. And a pinwheel is an example of radial balance because it's got that point in the center. And this design bounces out equally all the way around it. So if you think about like a bicycle wheel, that's a good example of radial balance. A Ferris wheel, I know some of you have probably ridden one of those. So we have our different kinds of balances again. We have symmetrical balance, asymmetrical balance, and radial balance. So we're going to focus mostly on symmetrical balance as we do our assignment today. And what we're going to be doing is a symmetrically balanced drawing of either an animal or an insect. I'm going to show you some examples here in a minute that could be good options to do. So I'll help you out just a little bit there. But the first thing you're going to need to do is take a sheet of paper and simply fold it in half like a card or a book. Crease it real good. And that crease you have there, that is going to be our line of symmetry. And we're only going to be drawing on one half of the paper today. That sounds kind of crazy, or at least one half for just a little while. So I'm going to be showing you what to do on your paper. So let's look down here and we'll get started. And the first thing I'm going to do, I think I'm going to do half of a bear's face. I've got different designs here that you could look at just for fun to get you thinking. I've got a pig. I've got a bear. There's half a cat's face, half a dog. Butterflies make really good examples for this assignment. And there's half a rabbit. I could have made many, many, many more different drawings. But again, I think I'm going to stick with the bear for the GC Burkhead Bruins. So first thing I'm going to do is take my pencil and I'm going to start on that line of symmetry, that center point, and I'm only going to draw half of my bear's face. I'm trying to draw as big as I can. I'm stopping when I get to that line of symmetry. And when I get to his mouth, I can only do half of it. So bears have those noses that kind of stick out from their faces. And the noses are kind of tricky because we only have one nose, but we're only going to have to draw half of it. And the mouth is kind of the same way. We're only going to have to draw half of it. So a bear has two eyes. So how many would I need to draw? Yep, you're right. I'd only need to draw one. And of course, two ears. I'd only have to draw one ear. And to speed things up a little bit, I worked on my assignment before the video started, and I took a black, or you could take a dark color crayon, and you're going to just simply trace as darkly and hard as you possibly can. You may have to trace your picture 2 or 3 times. And again, to speed things up, I went ahead and did that prior to the video. So here's mine. And then you're going to shut your paper. After you draw it several times, you're going to shut your paper, fold it back up, and you're going to find an object like a spoon handle. Works really well for this. And you're going to rub only where you can see the crayon showing through your paper. Now, I know you probably can't see it too well in my video. I'm not sure, but I can see it. A light up here above the table, I can see it really well. So you're wasting time and you're wasting energy if you're rubbing anywhere except where you can see the crayon showing through the paper. And I'm going to open it up. And I don't know how well you can see on the video or not, but I have transferred my design over to this other side. If it's not enough, I can always close it back and take my spoon handle and rub it even more. Or I can even go back with my crayon and darken it in just a little bit more if I needed to and close it back up. But I can see mine. So the next step for me would be just to trace back over my design to get both halves the same. And then if you have crayons or coloring pencils or paint or oil pastels or whatever at home, I would go back and I would suggest adding more details to this. Color it in. Like my bear, he kind of looks like he's floating here. I might draw the rest of his body. Perhaps maybe make some GC Burkhead paw prints or something over on the side to finish it. So we are wrapping up here talking about balance in art. Don't forget, we have symmetrical, we have asymmetrical, and radial balance. So our bear today that we drew, of course, that had symmetrical balance. Both sides were the same. So I hope you have fun making your symmetrically balanced insect or animal. I'm just going to leave it up to you. So just remember, do the best you can. And as long as we're creating art, everything's going to be okay. I hope to see you again soon.